awakening for just about, everyone who is not here to bring this new world. And what is this new world? Well, we've been in the world of Pisces for 2,000 years or so, the age of Pisces, which was very much about, the greater power up there and us down here, the priest and us sinners, the ones who know and us who are just like, mere mortals. That is the old way of looking at things, that somehow the power is out there somewhere, and somebody else knows. This astrology is meant, Pluto just went retrograde last week. We are meant to know our power through and through. As human beings with great hearts and compassionate sensibilities, we are to know our power as creator beings, one with everything there is. I mean, it's such an irony, because our creative power is infinite. And when we work with that proper motivation of wanting to be of benefit and aligning with that, and then working with others who have the same intention, there's nothing more powerful on this planet, nothing. Even though what we've seen beforehand looks like there is something more powerful than that. That's really the great illusion that is being dispelled at this time. So what is the astrology saying now in terms of, in terms of how to reconcile this these outer inner realities? So for this month of May, Venus in Gemini is going to be squaring Neptune in Pisces. Now, a lot of astrologers will say that is a time of great confusion, especially when Venus goes retrograde on the 13th of this month, and will be retrograde till the 25th of June, and also will be in Gemini for 4 months. Venus, the planet of love, of relationships, of what matters in our life, what really has value in our life. And it's in Gemini, so we're engaged in a mental process trying to understand what now has value in our lives, what now is meaningful. So let us use this next month, instead of being confused and, well, give yourself permission to be confused, because there's a lot of confusion in the world. And it's a ferreting out. This next month, many of us will be thinking, what's real and what's not? What's true and what's not? That's the inner process we're in. What's true out there? What are they? Are we being told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? No, probably not. And even in our own minds and in our own experience, what is true for us relative to what we value? Our relationships are very much in the spotlight here. I would imagine at the end of this year, a fair amount of shaky relationships will be done. It's going to be very hard to maintain the status quo during this time, because it's an uncomfortable. Squares are uncomfortable. They're a 90-degree angle between these two planets, and there's something that needs to be worked out. There's something that needs to be understood and shifted. So if we understand that, then we can look at Neptune and Pisces and say, okay, what needs to be understood and shifted here in terms of our values, our relationships, what's important? And there, the recommendation is really to go deeper. It is to allow ourselves a retreat if possible, to use this time rather than feel anxious and restless. And there's a lot of that, and that's okay. It's all okay, no matter how we feel. It's a very important gift we give ourselves, because we truly are in the period between the great beginning of the ending and the great beginning of the new paradigm, the age of Aquarius, which is all about equality and justice, about knowing our individual gifts and value and giving that to the world, coming together in our soul groups and communities, and finding our ways together from the inside out. So I find it very interesting that this shutdown has forced us to be with ourselves. For some, it's forced us to be with family or people maybe that are trying. That's okay too. But really the key here is to get to know our own minds, bodies, hearts, needs, desires, our own energies, so that we can get clear as to what our new assignments are. And I've been saying that for the last few months. I've been listening in meditation for what my new assignments are. Because as this great, cycle, this old cycle is ending, there is an opportunity to really, really listen and discover new ways of, first of all, enhancing our own knowledge, our own resource base, so we have more to offer this world. We are being called to do things differently and to do our work differently for many, more from home, more using the computers and the Aquarian technology is really at the fore here. We're meant to come together and have these conversations. I can't tell you how important I feel coming together and having meaningful conversations about what is important to us now, about what we no longer wish to see in this world, about the new systems we want to create in education, in even money. I really think in the next 2 years, money is going to be very different. Uranus in Taurus. Taurus is money. So if money isn't going to have the same value, and really, how can it? We're seeing the monetary system in such a state of, breakdown. And nobody knows what's going to happen. The astrology, and my husband, who's a physician and knows about this virus, the astrology and some physicians would say that come August, September, October, we very much may be back to where we have been, coming back into this kind of isolation, because we're taking a chance now by opening up. We're going to see what happens. But the whole point of all of these retrogrades, all of this movement, when planets are direct, the movement is out. We're on the run. Things are happening. Things are going. Business as usual. When planets go retrograde, like Pluto did last week, and Pluto will be there until August 4th. Pluto will be retrograde till October 4th. Okay, so quite a number of months. And then Venus goes in next week. Saturn goes retrograde on the 11th, and Jupiter retrograde on the 14th. 4 major planets retrograde now after next week now. So that energy really is meant to be used introspectively. Pluto, our power. Where do we give it away? Where do we honor it? what about our power is wanting our attention? What about our power or disempowerment is calling for us to look deeply, looking very deeply now? I want to just move quickly to the full moon. Just give me 1 sec with the retrograde planets. Okay. So we're to use all of these energies. Pluto, the planet of power. Venus, the planet of love and relationship and values. Jupiter, the planet of growth, the planet of expansion. And Saturn, the planet of work. So, where is our work? Where is our growth? What do we value? And where is our power? Those are questions we are to ask ourselves deeply during this time. And in the past, I know a lot of us have used the barometer of what have I accomplished and what am I doing in the world, and all of that is okay. I have no problem with people doing that. But we are being called deeper. Because for many of us, we're not living the same life we lived. And a lot of that has to go. A lot of that old activity that just doesn't bear the fruit and whatever isn't in accordance with our values, our newfound or even old, known values that we haven't fully embraced or embodied because we were too busy, maybe. So there's a whole reset. And now we're looking in, we're looking at our own growth. And when I say our own, first things first, we must know our own hearts, minds, souls. This is a time to also do some shadow work. The full moon on the 7th is going to be in Scorpio. Whoa! Scorpio, for anyone who is a Scorpio or knows anything about Scorpio, the sign, wow, a full moon in Scorpio. Holy moly. Expect emotional. This is really, we're meant to pay attention to what's coming up in our emotions. So what also does Scorpio want? Magic. Scorpio wants us, now I'll talk, Scorpio, according to me, wants us to create a cauldron of transformation where we choose to hold what it is that comes up. We choose to embrace what comes up. We choose to allow the shadow to show us where we've lost our power, where we need healing, where we need to reclaim certain parts, and also where we need to put to death certain thoughts, certain patterns of behavior. With Venus in Gemini retrograde, we're going to get a very good look at our day-to-day thinking, how we think in our day, when we're washing dishes, when we're paying bills, when we're, feeding the dog. We're going to get just expect to see that more clearly. And this is where bring in the Neptunian love, bring in the Venusian love, where we hold ourselves as these things come up, as these patterns that no longer serve us. That's really what this is about, to recognize the patterns that no longer serve us mentally, are the way we think, the way we talk. It's funny, this last week I've been highly aware of my certain patterns of, like, you could basically tell me what I'm going to say before I say it, because it's so boring. And it's so the same old, whether it's Mitch McConnell or 5G. And my upset about 5G being blanketed across this holy earth without anybody's knowledge or permission. Are you kidding me? So that's what you'll hear me say on a regular basis when I am not conscious. Because what's the point? You know, now I'm writing people, I'm doing things, I'm taking action, rather than allow a lot of mental, just a lot of mental ramblings. Yes. Cool. I feel people are with me. Thank you. I'm checking the, okay. We're almost at the time where I'm going to open this up. I just wanted to tell you some very, very important things during a time where people, I think, without any knowledge of the astrology, might be feeling very, very, very insecure. And the good news of astrology, the good news of even spirituality for anyone who has a spiritual path, the good news is that we can always be still and know. Be still and know. The more we can be still and know, the better. And it's not necessarily knowing why I'm here. If you know it, great. If you don't, that's okay, because there's a revelation. So the knowing is that I am connected to spirit. I am an emissary, an ambassador, a vessel of spirit. I am joining with brothers and sisters and star seeds from across the galaxies and on this planet to bring the new paradigm onto this planet at this time, a very crucial time when there are forces that want this, you know, that's the last thing they want, is what we are doing. So I love that it's being done like kind of covertly. It's not the time for outer protest, not just because of COVID, although that's one signal. It's the time, this is a consciousness. If we're looking at protests, if we're looking at, you know, what are we doing to raise the awareness? This is a revolution of consciousness. What we are doing individually in our homes every day, as we allow our consciousness to move into these places of love, of compassion, of understanding, of care, of working with the shadow, of honestly letting it go. We have a chance to let go of lifetimes and lifetimes of false belief systems, of shadow material relating to what we have been told for lifetimes about us that isn't true. Remember, it isn't true. We're not shameful. We didn't blow it. We're not defective. If anything, we're the same. We bring sanity into the insanity. And we're meant to wake up to the truth of this, to see what's really insane and honor our path, honor what we've always known, what we've known deeply about who we are and why we're here and what's going on this planet. So let us be aware of what's going on, the difficulties, the manipulation, the control. Something very beautiful as YouTube and Facebook are becoming more controlling, right? They're taking off a lot of things that don't meet their criteria. What's happening is other platforms are arising And people are going to those platforms to do this work of our revolution in consciousness. The revolution is a revolution of love, of deep, deep self-love, of reclamation of our worthiness, of our true consciousness as spiritual beings having a material physical experience. So this week, pay attention to quick, sudden shifts that happen when we choose to align our consciousness to the deepest, vastest, most loving, most creative consciousness there is. Do art. If you're an artist, if you like art, if you like to play with art, this is a beautiful week to do that. And also take some time to just be in retreat and listen and ferret out. It's almost like, the way I see it, it's like we have a chance to pay attention, like see very clearly this belief system. Oh, gone. This way of thinking, oh, this isn't healthy, gone. This way of looking at relationships, gone. This way of viewing my family, gone. Be willing to feel, be willing to honor the depths of what comes up. Remember that we are chrysalises. I love the image of individual chrysalises in our own homes. We are that cocoon becoming the new butterfly, whoever it's going to be, whatever it's going to be. And also there's a collective chrysalis that we are creating through our intentions, through our conversations, through our subtle activisms that we do together on the Zoom calls. So many are Zooming and meditating together and actually shifting reality. We are shifting this physical world. The Schumann resonance, the Earth's resonance is like spiking as a result of our beautiful work in consciousness. Let us keep it up. And if these feelings come up in ourselves and others that are old and very heavy, because that can come up, rather than hate it, rather than judge it, make a space for it. And notice how quickly it shifts by just making a space for it. Our loved ones, a friend, our own angst, waking up with headaches, or I don't know if anybody's going through physical pain, but that could be because the sun and Mercury and Uranus are in Taurus. The new moon was in Taurus almost 2 weeks ago. Our bodies, the earth. So we could be going through these like sloughing offs, you know, just needs to go. So be gentle. A friend of mine said to me when she found out I had been feeling badly the last few days with the headaches and vomiting, she said, have you held yourself? Like, do you ever just like lay down and hold yourself when you don't feel well? And I thought, when was the last time I did that? I offer myself love, but do I stop and actually hold myself? No. So I did after I spoke with her, and things felt much better. So that is the theme of this time. It's deep self-care for ourselves and others, as well as this full moon that is it's a fruition. Wherever it is in your chart, and I hope you know your charts. If you don't know your charts, please contact me. I'll help you get your charts, and I'll show you where this is happening in your chart. That makes it more relevant to know where is this full moon at 17 degrees Scorpio in your chart. Where is this transformation, this fruition, this culmination? this death and rebirth, specifically in your chart. That's very helpful to know. But this is generally the, you know, the astro weather of the time. And one other thing about this full moon is that Neptune is involved again. So we have a direct line to spirit. We have a direct access. It's so present. If we just stop and breathe and relax enough, happiness cannot be found through great effort and willpower, but is already present in open relaxation and letting go. As Lama Gendon Rinpoche says in his poem, Free and Easy. So it's a letting go. It's a cherishing peace and serenity at this time. As these waves come, we cherish the peace that comes when we're willing to move them and move through them and not attached to them. It's really about surrender, let go. That's where Scorpio comes into the eagle. Scorpio, as you know, can be the scorpion. You know, if it gets hurt, it'll hurt you more. Very survivalistic. And then the phoenix, rising out of the ashes of the decay of the death, which many of us, Scorpio and others, have to go through. And then the eagle, which literally soars and has the spirit view. So there's a chance here to deepen in and click in. I think of it like a gear, you know, like there's been a hovering back and forth. We're in it, oh, but then we're out. Oops, then we're back in, and then, oh, out. This is a clicking in where it's more stable. There's a stabilizing that can happen. So stay grounded, stay connected to the earth, stay connected to the heavens and to spirit. Call. I spoke last time about calling and asking for help. I wonder if anyone has done that. Maybe if you have some stories to share. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to open it up to any questions or comments, anything.
Hi, everybody. Lee can't hear us, so I'm going to ask Lee. I think it might be good if
I think Barbara wanted you to write it down. Write down.
Okay, so Lee, should I call you? I don't know.
Yes, just in time for Mother's Day. Beautiful. Should I call you? Yes? Okay.
Let's see if there's feedback, guys.
Hi, Barb.
Can you guys hear it?
I'm going to do it like this.
Okay. So I think some people are going to start to type in the chat. So you could just take it away and answer their questions.
Great.
So Laura said I typed a comment question above. Is that the whole thing about the vaccines, Laura?
You can hear me, right, Barb?
I can.
Okay.
I can too.
Oh, great. Oh, cool. Hi, that was great. I really, really enjoyed your, hi.
Hi.
It was very poignant for me to hear what you're saying. And in the last several weeks, there's been an intensification for me. I've been practicing natural healing, meditation, my whole adult life. And what I have been trying to come to terms with is this kind of groupthink around what's going to save us. You know, how are we going to be saved as a culture? Do you understand me, Lee? Can you hear it? Yeah. Okay. So my concern is that it's a unit message. It's one message, and that is it's the vaccine, and that's the only thing that's going to save us. And we're going to have to buy into that forever. And there's no talk about natural healing, prevention, building your immune system, you know, improving our living, improving how we are in our life with relationship to the planet, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And so I started digging a little deeper, and it's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole of corruption and concentrated power at CDC and a lot of other things that are very, very difficult to talk about with people because it's very
Yes.
frightening.
Yes.
So I'm trying my best to do that, and I'm here today because I think there are more open minds also here to hear this. But it's exactly what you're saying. It's kind of like this is the crumbling, hopefully, because it just seems like the ultimate, the apex of this whole situation is what's been building for 30 years.
Yes, you're right. You're seeing the apex of the whole situation that has been, you know, happening for quite a while, a long, long, long time. So I've been thinking, not only, I've been almost like cavalierly saying we need strong stomachs for this time, but I really think it's more than that. I think we need to understand that there has been a control force on this planet that is now becoming very, very visible. And we have a voice. We have our power. We need to be wise how we use it, right? Skillful. But more and more people are waking up to this. And my husband gave a talk to hundreds of doctors the other day on the line, talking about everything we can do to keep ourselves, our immunity strong, our health strong, so that, you know, we're not running from every virus, right? So you're absolutely right. That's the taking back of the power, not buying into, oh, we need this vaccine, and seeing it very clearly as part of the agenda. So can we witness this agenda and this control, manipulation, energy, the vaccines, the whole thing, while waking up, connecting? I'm letting friends know about things that I haven't in the past, because it's time. It's time for whoever of us can wake up to wake up, so that we share the truth, and that people are armed with more than just this univision, you know, lie. So this next month will be very confusing. We're going to be given all sorts of messages, as we have been. It is critical to just stay in that place of what is the deeper truth. Listen to yourself. And I'm finding it doesn't help to get so caught up in that rabbit hole. For me, after 3 weeks of doing my research and really getting so sick, I realized that's what I needed to understand it. And now I don't really need to get that deep into it anymore. Now I just need to be aware and do with the like-minded, like-hearted people, and go about creating this new world.
Lee, I think something you said really resonated with me, which is that we have the information, but there's also actions. So, okay, here's the issue.
Yes.
We don't want to think about hating this person or how bad this is or what's going to happen, because we don't know. However, what can we do right now? Because if we stay in our mind and keep, that alone will bring down our immune system.
Yes.
I think it's what can we do and what light can we shed for others and ourselves. Sorry about that.
Beautiful. Well, I open that up in terms of what we can do. I will just share from my perspective, keeping my consciousness in a place of joy and peace is the greatest thing I can do. Not get wound up into the you know, the web. It's such a, it's so sticky. Once you get into it, you feel like, I'm gonna die, because we have died in this system. So it's understandable that we have these feelings like, what? And part of the maturity here is recognizing, okay, this is what it is. And how am I going to create this revolution of consciousness in my daily life? And then connecting to groups like this. What you do, Barbara, is exceptional. You create these forums for people to come together and share in these ways. And then also at the end, we're going to do a collective guided visualization, which is, you know, the words guided visualization is like, oh, what a nice thing to do. But it isn't just a nice thing to do. It is, we are creating our world by our thinking, by our intentions, by our feelings. Every minute of every day, we're broadcasting anyway. So using the astrology of the time, using our mindfulness, getting our thoughts, our feelings in a clearer place, doing our work, and then coming together and doing these group subtle activisms where we actually go into the deepest, highest, vastest reality and create from there together. Because this is an individual / collective process.
Lee, hey, Jerry has a question, but Jerry, it'd be good if you could come on to ask Lee to have a little discourse, because she can hear you through my phone. Because Jerry's question is, what's the deeper truth? And in regarding what, Jerry? Jerry?
Unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I guess it's a very broad question. I'm in North Carolina, in a county of the highest illiteracy in the state of North Carolina. Okay, I feel very isolated in terms of conscious conversation, these kind of discussions. I would like to help or be a part of an example. I mean, I left here because of the situation here. In terms of, as a musician, as an artist, we had to leave here. You know, this county of this area that we're in. I would like to sort of help people, besides, you know, giving my music out, but I feel that it's, I'm not being negative. I just feel like it's, you know, people of color are the ones that are down here in the nursing homes are dying the most.
Yes.
It is a real fact. Pre-existing conditions in terms of, I mean, you can't buy organic here easily. You can't get fresh vegetables. I mean, there's farming all around me, but literally there's pesticides, there's planes flying over the plants. There is a fast food restaurant every block in the town next to me. And it is, I think, just as addicting as nicotine, the way people eat here. There's a high obesity here. There's nobody walking. There's nobody going to a park. It's really, you know, so I guess my question is, what's the deeper truth about, like, I mean, I'm away from everybody at my mother's house, so I'm not around it, but as soon as I go into town, nobody's wearing masks, nobody wears gloves. There's no respect of this situation. Maybe they believe the propaganda, I don't know. Guns are sold out, toilet paper's missing. That's what we have here.
Wow. I'm so sorry to hear that, and that you're kind of a loner in the midst of that wasteland. And I do feel for the, especially our poor Black, African American, Hispanic people, because they're taking the brunt of the deaths of from this virus. And we see that poverty and that health has a big role to play here. And that this kind of behavior is unacceptable. More and more we're seeing it's just not okay. This has been a systematic, you know more than I'm sure, but this is a systematic manner of impoverishing our African American brothers and sisters, our people of color. This is not an accident. This isn't the way nature intended it. This is part of that same old thing that we're talking about here. And I would encourage you, because these next few years, as we're waking up to what we're about, what we need, NEED, Taurus, what we need, listen to what you need. Listen to the environment that you need to be in, that has community, that has fresh air, that has fresh produce. We're building a greenhouse here, enough for neighbors. And we've been mostly, my husband and I are both like recluses in a way. We both have 12th house sons, so we like our own little space. It's like, no, now is the time to realize that this isn't about your own little space. It's about creating the kind of conditions we need to live in our truth and power and love and connect to our communities, to our soul groups. I'm seeing a lot of people moving around, shifting as it should be. So the clarity that in terms of what we need, listening deep to that. I love what you said, Jade, about the deep feminine, tapping into that deep feminine power of knowing and trusting and then listening. Where do I go? Ask the questions. Where do I go? Where am I to go? Who am I to connect with? Show me. Show me.
I get that.
Whatever we're wanting and needing now, ask. Ask. The asking, the seeking, the knocking, that's our part. And then to receive, having faith. This is a crisis of faith time. Jupiter conjunct Pluto can be a crisis of faith. So for any who are having some of that we need to go deeper and reach out. We're not here to do it, by ourselves. We are to know our collective and our community support and empowerment. That's really where the support is. The support at this subtle realm level for me, our spirit helpers, our guides, our ancestors, the spirit worlds, but also the greatest supports are each other, are one another. So please reach out and look for something different. If something isn't satisfying and meeting your needs, then you don't belong there.
Lee, I was thinking that, Jerry's pretty powerful and he lives in New York, but while he's down at his mom's place.
Oh, this is temporary.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely temporary. Definitely temporary. I'm getting the fuck out of here as soon as I can.
But what change can Jerry do? Can Jerry make a garden? Can Jerry educate his neighbors? Can,
No, we have the garden, Barbara. We started the garden in March. We'll have our own groceries. I'm not a vegan. I'm a Negrotarian. I just grabbed the chicken from my cousin. We're going to be fine for food, but the area is really, it's something from a movie. I can't describe it. Like, it's really you can't imagine. It's like literally the clan lives near here. Sharecropping is here. This is a real part of America. This is something that people don't. I mean, it's real.
And that has to be kind of scary to see it and be in it for so long. And it's also a realization that so much of this exists, unfortunately.
That's right. And this is in fact showing this whole, coronavirus shutdown, the economy, everything is really showing the places that are broken, that are already fractured, that
Right.
become more obviously broken and fractured.
Right.
And this is what we all have to see. And then each one of us make up our minds. Is this the kind of country we wish to live in? Is this the kind of place we say is okay? I don't. And I know many people on this call don't. And many people on the earth are saying this is not okay. That the 0.1% on the planet have the most. And the rest get the shit, get the garbage. Are you kidding me? No. So that's how I'm thinking about it. At first, like the truth hurts. It shocks, it like stuns, and then it sets us free. So for each of us, as we're being, shown the reality of things that are shocking, that's our work now, to go deeper and discover, okay, what is it that I can do here? Maybe it's just prayer. Maybe that's the best use of your time right now, is prayer. And then as you pray and ask, another thought comes, or you see an email. It's really in the asking and the receiving that everything, as far as I can see, is known. So I don't think we have to grasp too hard. That's the old paradigm. That's that patriarchal paradigm. You got to find it. You got to figure it out. You got to work hard. You got to, suffer. No, this is a feminine way. This is a way of attraction. So again, if we can keep our vibration in a place of love or just truth, what's your truth in this moment? What's your truth? What's my truth? Honor that truth, whatever it is, and then take the next step. And this has to be an inside out job. It has to be. And I think if we're just awake and alert and wishing to be of benefit in whatever ways we can, we will find ways. And that's enough right now. That's enough. This isn't going to change overnight. This is a 10-year process. By 2030, we will have created this new paradigm in such a way that it will be visible. That is my prediction, and I rarely make predictions, so here you go. That it'll be there, and we'll see it, and it'll be there for the people, and that those old structures will be so like minor in our life. They'll just be falling away. So this is the time, though, to really kind of take the bull by the horns and do our own work at the level of consciousness and love, our own shadow work, and coming together in a way of just assisting. It's so simple. It's really coming home. There's a true coming home in all of this, if we can allow that.
Lee, you said something that it's an inside-outside job.
Yes.
So it's not just about the outside, it's doing the inside and then going outside. So, and again, I know if we dwell on any of this, you could go crazy, whether it's vaccines or Trump or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do? And then keep spreading the light, because otherwise it's a slippery slope.
Yes, it is. And it is good to have a friend or someone in your world who's like a mirror. Like for me, that's my husband. And now he's given me a clue. He does this when I complain too much. Like he just expresses his pain, that I'm like, I'm annoying him. And that's helpful to just start getting, more aware of these habitual thinking patterns. Because so much, I realize in the course of my day, the last few weeks, so much of my thinking was in reaction to what I was hearing, what I was seeing, what I was feeling. And once I saw that, I thought, no, no, no. I take the astrology very much to heart, and I look at, okay, what's some other ways we can do this? And the good news is there's many other ways to do this. And we're getting clues just by life. The fact still, for most of us, we're on lockdown. I know certain places have eased those restrictions, but there's a larger reason for this, to stay with what is happening close to us and get clear on what is important. If we have children, if we have families, what our work is, what our day-to-day world is. Like, I want to do farming now. Who knew? But the times are also bringing forth what we are wanting to do, what's needed, maybe certain skills, things that we have liked to do or didn't even know, that we say, hey, this is relevant now. This is something that will help now. Any other thoughts, questions, shares?
Mary Bloom has one.
Hi, everybody. Lee,
Yes.
I know when we talk to any intuitives or astrologers or whatever, and we say, when will this immediate period maybe begin to ease up? Like, you know, we basically, 4 to 6 weeks ago, the world as we knew it changed in 3 days. You know, gone were walking in the park and going to a restaurant and doing whatever we wanted to. So when you look at the world astrology of humanity, we went into a very sudden lurch of a world that we never knew, into the science fiction movie. Does astrology show when this abrupt period that we're in may shift where we have greater ease? Whether it's, you know, of course, there's another question, is Trump going to win the election? But, you know, really my question is, we were thrown into this abrupt, harsh reality, and most of us are lonely, whether we're with someone or we're not. It's very lonely for all of us. So is there a period in astrology when this looks like we'll have a little more ease as a world?
Yes. With these retrograde planets, we're seeing that ease coming, right? Maybe even in New York, we're going to have some more eases, but we're the worst hit. So of course, we're probably going to be the longest to get back to. But I think it's important to understand that there's no going back. It's not about going back to how life used to be. This is meant to be a rupture in business as usual, so that the old can really, really go, and the new has a space to grow. Now we have some room for these new seeds, these Aquarian seeds, to grow. So for the next few months, I think June, July, August, we're going to see a bit of an easing. By late August, September, October, when the planets start going direct, I think we're going to see again more of that, you know, control, maybe another resurgence of the virus. I would give it a full 2 years. I would give it a full 2 years before we're back to a semblance of normalcy. That's what I'm going to put it, a semblance of normalcy, because we're not meant to go back to the other way, but understanding that we want to be together. We want to go to restaurants. We want to hang out. That I think is going to take a while. So also the Aquarian age, in December, Saturn, Jupiter are going into Aquarius together for the first time in quite a while. So we have this opportunity for, again, more of this Aquarius, and Uranus, the planet ruling Aquarius, rules technology. So we're meant to use technology now in ways that we couldn't do just by like meeting, right? How could we meet, all of us? This would be impossible. So we're meant to continue to develop our communities, to develop our connections online, and to do this work. Again, I feel it's like a little subversive. I don't know, maybe somebody is watching us from the government, but I don't know. Probably not. There's ways that we can change the world here, that like we're spreading out and we're reaching. My husband was on the line the other day. There are doctors from Australia, from Europe, all talking about COVID and was it man-made? Yes, many of them think it was. Again, looking for the truth. We're all looking for the truth here, right? What's really going on? So we keep that going, and then we must take it here. What is the truth here, here, here in my body? The truth, I feel, will be known most strongly through our bodies and through our hearts. And thank you for your comments, Jade, about the divine feminine and about the collective and about working together. This is the way of the feminine. And we are clearly in this time of the feminine rising, of Venus rising, of we as women rising and saying no more. The Me Too movement, no more, of all beings rising and allowing that inner feminine to marry, to have a great balance with the inner masculine, right? So that's our own personal work. We're doing it in the world, we're doing it personally. But again, this year specifically is very, very personal, the work, and then collective. So I wouldn't be going so far into the future as to how it's going to be, except let us see clearly the world we want. How do we want this world to be? What do we want? What don't we want? How do we want education? How do we want government to function? Maybe we don't want politicians anymore. Maybe we want public servants instead. People who really care. So this is the time to think, brainstorm, have ideas, talk to others, great. But I think this year is more of the breakdown. And then come 2021, you'll see more of the build up. And then by the end of 2021, I think things will start to be easing in terms of this. This is a good 2-year process. The Spanish flu, which Barbara, you mentioned last time, and I didn't know, did have very similar astrology to this time. And it was a good 2-year process before things, before the virus, in that case, the flu was no longer an issue. So patience, patience, patience. You know, the Buddha has, quick, very, very, very wonderful moment. This Thursday, Friday, the full moon in Scorpio is also the full moon. It's called Wesak. And for Buddhists, it's one of the, holiest, most important days. And the reason it is because the full moon in May is when the Buddha was born, became awakened, and died on the full moon, on a full moon in May, whatever those years were. So on this full moon, we also can celebrate that awakening of the Buddha. And the Buddha's awakening is our awakening. It is our awakening. So we can celebrate our own awakening, our own birth, our own process of coming out of the darkness and coming into the truth of who we are. And even the death, that it's a Scorpio full moon. The Buddha's death, like Jesus's death, show that there was no death and that it's just a change of form. And in the Buddha's case, in Christ's case, it was a radical transfiguration of spiritualized form. We are spiritualizing our bodies now. And also we're purifying and purging a lot of, think tens of thousands of lifetimes. So it's a big deal what we're going through, no small thing. And that practice of patience, the paramita of patience, if we perfect patience, that's a good thing. So we get a chance at getting closer to perfecting patience if we're still locked down and knowing a little bit more how to use this time, hopefully in a beneficial way that will help yourself and others around.
Lee,
So I'm looking at the clock and I'm wondering, unless there's a deep, deep burning desire for anyone to share something, I'd love to lead us in a guided visualization, meditation, subtle activism for all of us, for all beings, and for the planet. So before we do that, does anybody have anything else they'd like to say?
Oh, I do, Lee. So at someone's
Beltane, thank you.
Oh.
Sorry.
Muted.
Yes.
You hear me?
No, now you're on. Now you're unmuted.
Okay, it's Barb. So what I want to tell everyone is that we are going to have set times twice a week for these forums. And Lee, I hope you come back at least twice a month, because the stars and the moon and, well, the world is in constant change. And I want to thank you, because I think after the meditation, we should just all, I will keep the Zoom on and people can go as they please and stay as they please with the group, whatever. But I want to thank you and look forward to having you back. I found this incredibly, for me, inspiring and informative. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all.
Anything to Lee? She could hear you through my phone. If not, then we'll get started on the meditation. Okay.
Is there,
Oh, wait.
is there, yes, brilliant. They talked about the Aquarian age. We're now in the aquarium age. We're all in a fishbowl and there's no place to hide. This is an opportunity to really connect to what we really love. The more we focus on what we love, the more we resonate with that. The more we focus on the problems and the challenges, we contribute to the problems in others. As we feel in our hearts, it resonates everywhere. It's best at this time to hang out with light-hearted friends, not like-minded, but like-hearted friends. We're so blessed. This is an extraordinary time. Focus on the solutions, not the problems. If we focus on the problems, we make more. I did a children's game 40, 50 years ago. It was a children's maze. And I suggested, don't start at the beginning and hit all the challenges. Start at the end and work to the beginning. And if you take a children's maze and you work from the solution, the end, to the beginning, there's no obstacles. But if you look at all the problems, we have all the blocks. But that's the game. We're all in the game. It's a drama. Focus on what we love, resonate with what we love, find that. So grateful. Jack, out of the box.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for being so wonderful always. Anyone else before we start this whole meditation? Okay, so we're going to start, Lee.
Yes.
I'm going to mute myself and I'll speak to you soon. And everybody just stay on as long as you want. I'm leaving the computer on. Okay.
Okay. Thank you all, and thank you, Jack, for that. That was perfect. I don't think I need this phone, so I'm gonna leave that there. Okay. So with that beautiful reminder of, really looking at the solutions and knowing at this time, I'm gonna just shut off this phone. I don't need to hear it. Knowing at this time that we actually are the solutions. We are the solutions. We have the solutions within us. This this is the kind of remarkable eureka of this time, is that we have it, that we are it. And the more we do connect with others of like heart, of similar vibration, it's easier. We find it's easier to slip into that place, and it's easier to stay there. So yes, yes to that. And as we confront with this guided visualization, I'm going to take us at the first part. We're going to do just a little exploration of what the full moon in Scorpio might be revealing in our own psyches as to what needs to be put to death, what no longer carries import. Pluto is about our soul purpose, our soul mission. So we are now think of it, the tuning fork is going off to our mission. Oh, Barbara, sorry, Barb. Let's see. Can we? Yes.
I didn't realize that it was going to.
Yeah, I'm not paying attention to my phone. So
There was a tuning fork.
we have this opportunity to also look at whatever is still with us, our own shadow material here, and do it in a way that is so clear, offer such a clarity and such a sense of compassion that whatever it is, no matter how shameful, how horrific, how difficult it's been in the past, to go there, to feel it, to look, something is changing now. And there's this new place to be with it. There isn't the harsh judgment the same way. There's the understanding that we're in it together, and we've all been subjected to this whole thing together. And that as we look at it and feel it and be willing to see, feel, and shift, that we are making it that much easier for everyone else. So this is not to be sweated about this visualization. I'm going to just ask you to use the keynote of Scorpio, the full moon, of surrender. And as I guide us for the next 20 minutes or so in this guided visualization, allow yourself to surrender more deeply. Surrender into the truth, into the all that is, into the one great wholeness, the one great spirit, the one great moment that always is right now. So we set the intention to make that surrender into the heart of truth and love. And if you feel comfortable closing eyes, please do. If not, that's okay too. And let's start with our breathing, always starting with our breathing. Let's take some nice, deep inhalations. And on the exhalation, let it go. Okay, letting go of any tension, even shaking out. Again, because of the focus in Taurus now, the Sun and Mercury, Uranus, it's good to keep connected to the body, shaking it out, caring for it, listening to it. So we bring our awareness to our bodies. And let your hands, one hand go to one place on your body, the other hand to another. Let it be intuitive, and breathe into those places under your hands. And let's simply take a moment and honor what our bodies, what our feelings, what our experience is showing us right now. And allow, welcome, welcome and allow and welcome. Letting the breath go even deeper, visualizing a grounding cord coming down from our feet, down into the earth, dropping down all the way through the seas and the sands and the soils. That grounding cord from the bottoms of our feet down into the core of the great Mother Gaia. Feeling that grounding cord wrapping around that molten iron core 3 times. And bringing that energy, that golden liquid honey energy, all the way up the grounding cord, through into our feet, up through our bodies, out through the tops of our heads like a whale's spout. Breathing in that gorgeous earth energy, sustaining us, stabilizing, fortifying, healing, balancing. And let that energy really pulsate up and out, up and out. See the energy surround you like a bubble. You're in this bubble of earth energy, feeling your body and the earth's body connecting, feeling the love and appreciation for this earth, for our mother, for everything she provides without anything wanted in return. And then visualize our consciousness from the tops of our heads going out to the galactic center, to the womb of the cosmos. And bringing our awareness from that cosmic origin, from that cosmic womb, bringing in that energy down through the atmosphere, the heavens, through the sun and the moon and the planets and the star systems, collecting all that cosmic luminosity and enlightened, illumined energy, bringing it all the way down into the tops of our heads, the crown chakra, and then down into our bodies. Clearing, really quickening. Feel the quickening in the body that comes when we bring in that cosmic energy down through the body and out the bottoms of our feet and all the way around. Again, a bubble of cosmic energy. And in that energy, let us reach out and feel the bubble, the chrysalis that we are all creating together, this chrysalis of awakening, of transformation. And taking a few breaths into this collective chrysalis, this collective starship of awakening. Let us visualize walking on this glorious earth. Visualize yourself without any shoes or socks. Visualize yourself in the most beautiful environment that you've ever been in or that you can imagine. A place that is filled with everything you love about this earth. The sounds, the smells, the sights, the textures, the sensations on the skin. Let your senses really, really become awakened in this visualization as we find ourselves walking in this beautiful, beautiful place of our own imagining, of our own remembering. And as we walk and feel and sense and open to the magic, to the potency, to this new earth energy that we are a part of, that we are helping to manifest, notice yourself being called to a certain direction. Either it's a rustling, or a light, or a sound, or a smell, or a feeling that you are drawn to move in a certain direction towards something that you cannot see. It is just out of your range of sight. And you know this is where you need to go, so there's no problem in trusting yourself in moving in this direction, this unknown direction. And with each step, you feel the earth's support. You feel the sun and the wind and the other elements enveloping you, supporting you, heightening a sense of excitement and anticipation of what you are about to discover. And as we walk deeper into that direction, we start to sense, see, feel, hear, understand something of what is calling us, of where we are being called. And there's an excitement in that. There's a sense of heightened expectation of something new, something never before happening here. And you and we are right in the middle of it. We are right in the center of the whole happening, participating and expanding what is happening. So take a moment and go to this place. Hear, feel, and know this new something that's come into your view, that's come into your mind, your heart, your senses. It could be clear as a bell, and it could be a little whisper of something. Whatever it is, honor it. Rejoice in it. This is the new world that is calling us, that we are co-creating, that we are moving toward together, co-creating together. And in this place, open up to all of the guides, helpers, ancestors, subtle realms, spiritual helpers, advisors, angels, ones that we know and ones that we don't, the ones who live on the non-physical levels of reality. So we open up to this vast space around us, which is filled with these beings who have come here, who have pledged their help and assistance and support in creating our new world. We realize, oh my goodness, not only are we not alone, but we have vast reservoirs, resources, vast beings who are present and able to help. So we call upon the ones that we know, and the ones that we don't, the ones that are here to help, the ones who have committed themselves to this awakening. And we open and receive their assistance now. And listen carefully, feel carefully. What do you feel? What do you see? What do you know in this moment as you open to those vibrations, to those realities that are always present but simply need our awareness to realize that they are there. So feeling that support, ask, what do I need right now? What do I need right now? And make the commitment to yourself that as your needs become more and more obvious, as Jack said, as your desires, your loves, your likes, what you really feel the juiciness around, as that becomes more vivid, let's make the commitment that we honor those places in ourselves and that we follow that. We give our life to those things that make us come alive, that open us fully to our joy, that allow our gifts to be expressed fully and completely. So we set the intention as we're in a state. This is a preparatory state we are creating to listen, to make the connection, know our needs, fulfill our needs, know our deep desires and loves, fulfill them, even to know our soul groups and communities and connect to them. Whatever it is you are needing, if you're needing employment, if you're needing money, if you're needing real things, ask. In this place, all is heard, all is given. So we hold this cauldron. We are creating this cauldron for the subtle realms to interact with us and co-create this new world together. And whatever the experience is, however minimal or maximal, is perfectly fine. This is a relationship that we build with the subtle realms, with the earth. So we make the commitment to continue cultivating our relationships with our Mother Earth, with the subtle realms and our spiritual advisors, ancestors, helpers. And we honor all the ancestors who have walked this road before us, who have actually created the structures in consciousness needed for us to take this walk. We honor all of our ancestors, that their wisdom is present in us and around us. We honor all of our ancestors, that our love and our connection, whether they're ancestors from our family in this life or ancestors from other places and other lives, these are the wise ones, the lineage holders. These are the ones that are available to us now. We honor our ancestors for this full moon in Scorpio, for their wisdom and their magic and their transformative power. And we are open and receiving of the blessings of this time. And then we intend to share the blessings of this time with all beings limitlessly throughout time and space. So, as we allow in this fullness, visualize now all of this space around us and the ones in the space becoming pure light. And let us breathe that light into our hearts and know that that one, that wisdom, that all of what we seek resides within our own hearts and minds. And we give thanks that we can do this collective, subtle activism work together to recreate our worlds and the world that we live in, and to know that we're not alone and that we have great power, not only individually, but when we come together with these great intentions for all beings to know happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. We dedicate the merit of this beautiful, beautiful creation, this beautiful, beautiful recreation. I thank you so much for your participation. We dedicate the merit for the benefit of all sentient beings, limitless throughout time and space. May all beings be awakened now. So I send you all my deep love. Thank you again, and looking forward to continuing this journey next time on Zoom, but certainly all the time through the ethers and through our love for one another. Be well.